Well, the race for the last spot in the Eastern Conference has blown up, and there are a lot of teams that are trying to fight for it. Game recaps from the last couple of days coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the NHL Hockey channel. Before we begin this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe below. Thank you all your support. We're to stuff. You guys, so if you haven't already, don't forget the subscribe button down below. And don't forget to comment down in the comment section below. Love to hear your guys' opinion on all of this down in the comment section below. But as I just mentioned, the Eastern wildcard race is heating up, and there are a ton of teams involved in this. Slip-ups from some of the teams who are in a playoff spot, and hot streaks and teams who are out of a playoff spot have made this a little bit of an interesting matchup here in the Eastern Conference. Now, I'll get to all that here, but we do have a couple of game recaps to talk about. So I'll mention how all these last few games have affected the standings, but we'll get to the game recaps first. We saw 4 games happen over on Monday, 10 games happen over on Tuesday, so we'll get to all those games here. So we'll start off with an interesting one. That's how the Sabres blow 3 separate leads, but were able to recover and beat the Washington Capitals 4-3 in a shootout, as they've ended their 3-game losing streak and improved to 15-21-5 at the halfway point of their season, hitting the 41 game mark, while the Capitals fall to 26-10-4. Bad stuff there for the Capitals, but they do keep their point streak going, as they now have a 4-game point streak. For the Sabres, Peterka had a goal and an assist. Tuck and Thompson both also scored in regulation, and Tuck and Peterka both scored in the shootout for the Sabres in the win, while Wilson scored twice. Protest had a goal and an assist. Carlson had 2 assists in regulation, and Dubois was the lone shield goal scorer for the Capitals in the loss. An impressive game there, but Buffalo was able to take down the Washington Capitals. Then we saw the Montreal Canadiens continue to heat up, and much to the chagrin of Senators fans such as myself, the Canadiens were able to overcome a 2-goal deficit and were able to take down the Vancouver Canucks 5-4 in overtime, thanks to this goal here from Nick Suzuki. You're all Credit Sportsnet, but Suzuki was able to get the OT winner, and beautiful games from Suzuki and Hudson lead the Canadiens to a victory as they've won 8 of 10 and improved to 19-18-3, while the Vancouver Canucks have a point 7 of 10 before 18-12-9. The Canucks are also hurting right now. They're not looking overly good. But for the Canadiens, great games from Hudson and Suzuki, who both had a goal and 2 assists. Suzuki's being the OT winner, and both had 3-point nights. Caulfield had a goal and an assist. Doc and Gooley both also scored for Canadiens in the win. Well, Miller had a 4-point night for the Canucks in the loss, having 2 goals and 2 assists. Lekari-Mackey, after being called up, had a goal and an assist. Hughes in his return had 2 assists, and the Brusque also scored for Canucks in the win. So it wasn't a bad game there from the Canucks, but they had a 2-goal lead, and they should have closed it out, and they didn't. And now the Canadiens, at that point in time, on Monday, were in a playoff spot. So that was surprising there. Then we saw Colorado Avalanche score 3 unanswered goals and came from behind to take down the Florida Panthers 3-1, as they have an 8-game point streak and improved to 25-15-1, while the Panthers fall to 24-15-2, having lost 4 of 6 at the halfway point. So the Panthers hit the halfway mark as well. For the Avalanche, Taves had a 3-point night, scoring 2 goals and an assist. Randon also scored, and Blackwood stopped 26-27 shots he faced in the win for Colorado, while Verhaeghe was one goal scorer for the loss. So it was an intriguing game between 2 extremely good teams, but the Panthers do fall at the hands of the Colorado Avalanche. And the last game we saw over on Monday was between the Devils and the Kraken, as the Devils blew a few leads but recovered and took down the Seattle Kraken 3-2, as they've ended their 4-game losing streak and improved to 25-15-3, while the Kraken have lost 3 straight 8 of 10 and hit the halfway mark at a 17-21-3 record. The Kraken, who had a decent start to the season, are absolutely hurting right now. For the Devils, Mercer had a goal and an assist. Cotter and Platt both also scored for Devils in the win, while Larson and Wright were 2-goal scorers for the Kraken in the loss. So an impressive game there from the Devils, particularly Jacob Markstrom, as they were able to come away with a victory over the Seattle Kraken. Those were 4 games we saw over on Monday, going over to the 10 we saw over on Tuesday. First, we saw the Oilers open up the scoring and shut out the Boston Bruins 4-0. The Oilers have won 4 straight 7-9, and not to anyone's surprise, they're up to 25-12-3, while the Bruins have lost 5 straight, 6 of 7 since the holiday break, and fall to 20-18-5. For a Bruins team that was well in control of being a wildcard team in that Eastern Conference, they have fallen hard recently. For the Oilers, Henrique scored twice, Kulak had 2 assists, McDavid and Arvidsson both also scored, and Skinner stopped all 26 shots he faced in the show and victory. So a really great game there from the Oilers as they destroy the Boston Bruins. Then we saw the Tampa Bay Lightning break a tie late in the third with, I think, under a minute left, and took down the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2, as they've ended their 4-game losing streak and improved to 21-15-2, while the Carolina Hurricanes hit the halfway point with a 24-15-3 record. So bad stuff there for Carolina. For the Lightning, Radish had 2 assists, and Point, Paul, and Hagel were 3 goal scorers for the Lightning in the win, while Stahl had a goal and 8 assists, and Svechnikov also scored for Hurricanes in the loss. So an impressive game there from Tampa as they took down Carolina. Then we saw the Dallas Stars overcome a 3-goal deficit. They were down 3-0 within the first 10 minutes of the game, stormed back and took down the New York Rangers 5-4 in overtime. Thanks to this goal here from Jimmy Benn, all Credit Sportsnet. But Ben was able to get the OT winner, as Dallas has now won 5 straight, has a point in 7 straights, and improved to 25-13-1, while the Rangers have lost 6 of 8 and fall to 18-20-2. The Rangers are absolutely not doing good right now. For the Stars, Harley had a 3-point out with a goal and 2 assists. Donovan Robertson both had a goal and 8 assists, and Ben, who had the OT winner, and Duchesne both also scored for Stars in the win, while Trocheck, who had 2 goals and 8 assists, and Panarin, who had 3 assists, both at 3-point nights. Lafreniere scored twice for the Rangers in the loss. So it was a one-line show there for the Rangers, and they could not hold on to a lead, so that was a bad game there from the Rangers. Then we saw 2 really big implication Eastern Conference matchups, as the first, the Blue Jackets will overcome a 2-goal deficit, stormed back, and took down the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-3 in a shootout, as they have won 5-7, improved to 18-17-6 at the halfway mark. And after Tuesday's game action, the Blue Jackets were in a playoff spot. I called the Gaudreau bump. They're trying to make the playoff spot for Gaudreau. I was sort of considering this as a potentiality in the preseason. Would they try and play a whole bunch better for Gaudreau? And it looks like they are. The Jackets are playing quite well right now, while the Pittsburgh Penguins have a 3-game point and 4-game losing streak, and they fall at 17-17-8. So still at 500 there for Pittsburgh. For the Jackets, Voronkov scored twice, Fantilli had a goal and 8 assists, Marchenko had 2 assists, and Johnson and Marchenko were 2 goal scorers in the shootout for the Jackets in the win, while Raquel scored twice, Crosby and Carlson both had 2 assists. Bunting also scored for Penguins in the shootout loss, so a bad loss there from Pittsburgh. Had a chance to potentially lead for a couple of teams and blew it. Well, then we saw the Detroit Red Wings overcome a 3rd-period deficit, scored once in a third to tie it, and then scored this goal, the OT winner from Patrick Kane, or Credit Sportsnet, but the Red Wings were able to take down the Ottawa Senators in overtime 3-2, as the Wings have won 5 straight and improved to 18-18-4, while the Senators have now lost 3 straight, 5-6, and fall 19-17-3. The only good news there for the Senators is they get a point, and they still have games in hand on some of the other teams. For the Red Wings, Larkin had a goal and an assist, and Kane, who had the O2 winner, and Veleno both also scored for Red Wings in the win, while Kachuk and Shabbat were 2 goal scorers for Senators in the loss. So a bad loss there from Ottawa as they fall at the hands of their rivals in Detroit. Then we saw Toronto Maple Leafs break a tie in the 3rd period and took down the Philadelphia Flyers for the 2nd straight time, 3-2, as they have won 5 straight, 6-7, and improved to 27-13-2. They are clearing the Florida Panthers right now and building up a big lead in the Atlantic, while the Philadelphia Flyers have lost 3 straight, 5-7, and fall 17-19-5. Bad stuff there for the Flyers. For the Leafs, Matthews and Tavares both had a goal and an assist, Marner had 2 assists, and Nyes also scored for the Leafs in the win, while Konechny scored both goals for the Flyers in the loss as the Flyers continue to falter a little bit. So interesting note there. Then we saw the Minnesota Wild overcome a 2-goal deficit, scored 4 unanswered goals, including this goal here from Matthew Boldy, Ronaldo's Credit Sportsnet, but Boldy was able to get the eventual winner, and the Wild were able to take down the St. Louis Blues 6-4, as they have won 4 straight, 6-7, and improved to 26-11-4 at the halfway point. Another team who hit the halfway point. Well, the St. Louis Blues fall to 19-19-4 on the year. Bad stuff there for St. Louis. For the Wild, Middleton and Johansson both had a goal and 8 assists. Zuccarello and Hartman both had 2 assists, and Eric Sneck, Boldy, Bogosian, and Merrill also scored for the Wild in the win, while Falk and Holloway both had 2 assists, and Buchnevich, Neighbors, Kyrou, and Thomas were 4-goal scorers for the Blues in the loss. So an impressive game there in the Central Division matchup, but the Wild come away with the victory. Then we saw Winnipeg Jets jump out to a 3-goal lead and beat Nashville 5-2, as they've ended a 3-game losing streak and improved to 28-12-2, while the Predators have lost 4-6 and hit the halfway point with a 13-21-7 record. Bad stuff there for Nashville. For the Jets, Scheifele and Lowry both had 2 assists, and Morrissey, Connor, Niederreiter, Baron, and Velarde were the 5-goal scorers for the Jets in the win, while Yossi had a goal and 8 assists, and Forsberg also scored for the Predators in the loss. So a bad loss there from Nashville. Then we saw Calgary Flames blow a late lead, but recovered and able to take down the Anaheim Ducks in overtime 3-2, as they have a point in 7 of 10 and improved to 19-14-7. Well, the Ducks have a point in 5 of 6, but do fall 17-18-5, so a bad loss there from Anaheim. For the Flames, Uyghur had a goal and an assist. Hanley had 2 assists, and Kadri and Huberdeau, who had the OT winner, both also scored for Flames in the win, while Killorn and McTavish were 2 goal scorers for the Ducks in the OT loss. So a bad loss there from Anaheim as they falter and lose to the Calgary Flames. And the final game we saw over yesterday was between the Vegas Golden Knights and the San Jose Sharks, as Knights opened up a 2-goal lead and held on to beat the San Jose Sharks 4-2, as they've won 3 straight, 9 of 10, and improved to 28-9-3. An interesting fact in the entire franchise history of the Vegas Golden Knights in the regular season, they've never lost in regulation in San Jose. That's an interesting stat, and it just shows you how dominant Vegas has been against San Jose. Well, the Sharks have now lost 9 of 11 and fallen 13-24-6. Bad stuff there for San Jose. For the Knights, Stone had a goal and an assist. Theodore had 2 assists, and Whitecloud, Eichel, and Hurdle also scored for Knights in the win, while Eklund had a goal and an assist, and Liljegren also scored for the Sharks in the loss. So it was a bad loss there from San Jose as they falter and lose to Vegas. So just to put this in perspective of how tight the Eastern Conference wildcard race is right now, currently the third team in the Atlantic Division is Boston. They have 45 points. Then you have Tampa with 44 points in first wildcard, Columbus with 42 in second wildcard, and out of a playoff spot you have 42-point Pittsburgh, 41-point Ottawa, 41-point Montreal, 40-point Detroit, 39-point Philadelphia, and 38-point NYR. That's a crowded group fighting for a second wildcard position. Now, I expect some of these teams will probably wind up losing a couple of games and falling back down a little bit, but to see Montreal, Ottawa, Detroit, Boston, Tampa, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and the Rangers all fighting for 3 playoff spots is quite surprising. So, interesting note there, just a really quick look at the Western Conference. The top 7 teams in the West are really in really good positions. If you look at the other teams, the Canucks, I think, are at 46 points. The Flames are at 45. Blues are at 42. Utah's at 41. And surprisingly, the Anaheim Ducks are at 39. Not too far out of a playoff spot. So, some interesting stuff there. I mean, there are some teams who are interesting, some teams who are not. Some teams will probably fall out in the next while. But just to see how crowded the race is in the Eastern Conference especially, but also in the West, is really interesting stuff. Let me know your guys' thoughts on all of this down in the comment section below. Did the standings surprise you at all? And were any of the games surprising to you? Was Detroit being Ottawa in overtime? Columbus being Pittsburgh in a shootout, Montreal being Vancouver in overtime, Colorado downing Florida, Vegas being San Jose again, Calgary being Anaheim in overtime, Minnesota being St. Louis. If you guys thoughts on all of that, down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk about for today. We're going to play this video. If you'd like to subscribe below, thank you for your support. We know to help you guys. If you haven't already, don't forget the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment down in the comment section below so you can also see this video. Also a blog to news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. The link down in the description below. And can I see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.